Hello and welcome. We're making a Python video today where we're going to be looking at strings again. In this video, we're going to introduce indexing, slicing, and immutability. And we're also going to be introducing lists to briefly help demonstrate some of those things. Let's jump over to the interpreter and see what I'm talking about. So here in the interpreter, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to say demo equals the string, not equals, demo is assigned to the string, this is a string. So the first thing I mentioned was indexing. Indexing is using bracket notation to look into one of your pieces of data and grab out a portion of it. In this example, we'll be using indexing to grab letters out of our demo string. So in this case, I'm just going to do demo 0. I'm just going to ask the interpreter to return demo 0 for me. It's going to give me the capital T. So if you've never heard the phrase Python is a zero-indexed language, you may be asking yourself, what's going on? So what that means is Python starts at the number 0 instead of the number 1. We go from 0 to 9 instead of from 1 to 10. This is a very common thing throughout computer science. It's not universal. You will find one-indexed languages. I believe Lua is a one-indexed language. Maybe Lisp, one of the L ones. But Python is like most, Python is a 0. Like many, I shouldn't say most. I'm not sure about that. So, but we can use it. Let's grab some other letters just to demonstrate. So we can also grab what the fifth letter is. The fifth letter is I. The beginning I. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's also negative indexing. So negative indexing will start you from the end of a string. So if we do -1, that's going to return the period. If we do demo -5, that's going to bring back the R from string. So slicing is a really neat tool. You can use it to move around your data and grab different pieces. I'm sorry, indexing is a really interesting tool. You can move around your data and grab different pieces. What's also really handy, especially when working with strings, is slicing. Slicing will give you a range of pieces from your data. So if we do demo, and we're going to say 0, we'll say 4. So when we first look at this, our natural instinct is probably to say demo 0 to 4. All right, they just told me that Python's a zero index language, so this is going to start at the capital T and it's going to go through the fourth index. So we're probably going to get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is probably going to print this space. And that's a reasonable assumption. But you're wrong. Because while Python is zero indexed, slicing, it doesn't include the upper index. It only goes up to this one. It doesn't include it. Um, if I'm perfectly honest, this is a computer science thing that the designers of the language decided. It's over my head. Some languages being one index, some languages are also upper inclusive. I don't know any examples of that off the top of my head, but I know I've read that before. But the designers of Python chose this for a reason. I honestly don't know what it is, but once you get it in your muscle memory, you don't mind, and it makes enough sense. It doesn't make sense, but you do it. It does make sense to people who understand. I'm not one of those people, but I can use this, and you will be able to use this, whether or not you understand, because it's simple. It's straightforward. It's straightforward. That's what I should say, because you just know that you go to the index you want and add 1. In this case, I wanted index 3, so I added 1 and got 4. But we can also, let's just to demonstrate, we'll do demo uh, 5 through 7. This will give me the word is. And then if we do demo, do we want to go, I want to go -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to go -7 through up to but not including -1. So this should give me string but not the period. There we go. So that's negative indexing or negative slicing. But there's more you can do. You can also provide slicing a step. So say you only want every other letter in a string, you can say demo um, from the beginning, excuse me, demo from the beginning to the end, give me every other character. So you know what, before we do that, let's talk about from the beginning to the end. So if we don't feed an index to either of those arguments in the brackets, it will default to the beginning or the end depending on which one we do. So if we do demo bracket colon 4, this will also, this one is the same as this up here. It will also give us the word this. And then if we do demo if we do demo -7 colon, this one's not exactly the same as this one. This is going to give a string with the period. There we go. So that'll give a string all the way to the end because there's no upper bound limit. It's upper bound given, so it's just going to give us all of what's left. So what's also really neat, if you need to copy something, you can do demo from the beginning to the end, and that'll give you the whole thing. So with that in mind, if we wanted to get every other letter, we would do demo from the beginning to the end, and then we would go by a step of 2. So now this gives us every other letter. If we want, and we can add more slicing in that, so we can do demo from index 1 to index 7, give me every other letter HSI. So this is indexing and slicing. It's really neat. It's a really neat way to reach into your data and grab different smaller pieces of it. It's very handy. But this brings us to our next piece that I mentioned in the intro, which is immutability. Strings are immutable. So one of the things you're probably thinking right now is, hey, I wonder if I could do demo 0 is assigned to the letter H. You know, if I do this, I can just change the first letter. I made a little typo. This will fix it. There we go. Oh, but like I said, strings are immutable. You can't redefine strings in that manner. But what you can do is you can concatenate strings. You can redefine strings as a concatenation of different strings. So what you can do is you can say demo equals that string H plus a slice of demo that starts at the first index, so skipping it starts at index 1, skipping that first letter from the 0 index, and continues to the end of the word. And so now if we print it, that capital T will be replaced with a capital H. But even when I was saying that, you can redefine it by concatenated different slice strings. That just sounds jargony. It sounds difficult. It sounds like maybe not the best practice. So in this case, well, first thing I'm gonna do that again, and I'm gonna change this back to a T. And just to confirm, demo is back to this as a string. So something we do a lot as beginners is that we will convert a string to a list. A list is another one of a basic data type in Python, a basic class, and a list is mutable. And it's nice because like strings, it's also an ordered object. So you can index it, you can slice it, but since it's mutable, you can redefine it in place. You don't have to do that weird concatenation thing. So one of the built-in methods for a string is called split, dot split, I should say. And so That's run by using demo.split with your open close parentheses. And by default, what this will do is this will take any spaces in a string and it will remove those spaces and split them into a list of the individual words. So let's run that and we see that there's no more spaces in our strings, but it's split into the individual words, and we can say now if we do demo 0, I can't type demo 0, that's going to give us, oh, excuse me, when I did demo.split, I didn't actually redefine it. So if we demo is now assigned to demo.split, there we go. Now demo is this list of strings. And so let's talk about lists real quick. I'm sorry, before I started indexing, I should have said this. Lists in Python are surrounded by brackets. Strings are surrounded by quotation marks. Strings are surrounded by brackets. There's other data types that are surrounded by parentheses and by curly braces. We'll be discussing those later, not in this video. So lists are surrounded by by brackets. That's how we know something is a list. They are comma separated. That's how you, when you're writing one, that's how you add new things. So let's just do sample. We'll do sample is assigned to the list of 1 and 2. So now this is an integer list. That doesn't mean anything. It's a list of integers. I shouldn't say the integer list like that's a thing. It's a list of integers, the integers 1 and 2. Lists don't have to be the same data type. We could have, just to, for example, we'll also add the string 3. That's not going to get confusing later. Let's type that. We'll add the string 3. And so now if we print sample, we'll see we see the brackets, they are comma separated. We can tell this is a string because it's in the quotations. These are integers because they don't have any special formatting. And now we can index these and we can change them. So if we do demo, I'm sorry, let's stick with sample for a moment. We do sample 1. That's going to be the number 2 because lists like strings are 0 indexed. If we do sample 0, that's going to give us the number 1. But we printed our list. We see it's the string 3. It's not the number 3. We want this to be a list of numbers. So let's go ahead and change that. We can say sample 2 is reassigned to the number 3. And now if we do sample, we see 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty cool. What can we do if we have a list of strings? Well, let's go back to demo. Demo is a list of strings. We've got 4 strings. This is a string. So now if we do demo 0, we get the word this. We don't need to change letters in this word. We can just overwrite this whole word. So let's change this. Instead of this is a string, let's say that is a string. So let's say demo 0 is reassigned to the string that. Now demos that is a string. We've got a whole new string, except it's a list. When we print it, we get it in this list format. We don't have spaces. We've got these commas. This is kind of ugly. I don't want to print that to my user. So what can I do? I can say demo, excuse me, I can use the .join method. So by default, .join will take your items in your list, it will stick a space in between them, and it'll make a string. So let's just look at that without passing any arguments. .join demo. Oh, interesting. Let me try. I think I lied. It's not bdef by default. Is that demo? Interesting. I totally forgot that. Apparently I'm so used to typing space.join that I forgot this isn't the default behavior anymore. Um, so let me first, since I overwrote demo, let me redefine this as that is a string. And then now if we do demo.split, or excuse me, demo equals demo.split demo. Now we have that as a string, and if we do demo equals space dot join demo, we could print this out. Now we have one string that's printable out. And when I redefined it, I forgot to put the period back in. That's why it's not there. None of these actions trimmed that for us. That was just a human error. So once again, that's the dot split method, which will by default look for spaces and trim on those, and the dot join method, which I didn't actually split that into a list. So this isn't well. Let's just you can do things like this actually. So let's do space dot join. This is only for demonstration. You would never actually do something like this in your code. Demo dot split, and we see it prints it back as this is a string. So that's dot join and dot split. They are really handy methods for converting data strings around and making them into useful data types, useful pieces of data. Excuse me. We'll be looking at strings. Excuse me. We'll be looking at lists a lot in much greater depth in later videos. But right now, I just wanted to go a little bit of an intro into this because we are going to be using lists in our project. But this is primarily a video about strings. So now, welcome back so soon. I did a quick watch of the video, and there was a pretty significant oversight on both the dot split and dot join methods. So I just wanted to jump in real quick and add a little addendum. So let's move over to the editor real quick. I've opened the interpreter. Excuse me. We're going to define a string real quick. We're going to use demo. Sorry. We're going to use demo again. Say demo is this. This is a string. So with both the dot split and the dot join methods, they take arguments. By default, dot split will go to spaces and remove those and split on spaces, but you can split on any character. So looks like we've got a couple T's in the string. We've got more S's, so we're going to use S's. Let's do demo.split, and we'll split on the character S. And there we see now all of the S's are removed, and we have splits on where the S's were. So the spaces are still there. Now we've got a space before the I, we've got a space before and after the A, and then no spaces in the final string. Then the other thing is when we go the other way, when we use dot join, most commonly you'll see people use space dot join to or at least as beginners, we'll see people use space.join to rejoin strings, rejoin lists of into full strings. But you can put anything in there. So once again, let's just redefine this as this is a string, and then we'll do demo.split. So now we have a list of a couple words, and we could do demo. Excuse me, we could do plus. Oh, excuse me, plus dot join demo, and that'll put, interesting. That was, oh, because I didn't reassign demo when I did the dot split. So let's do demo equals demo dot split. And then now we can do just do up arrow to get back to plus dot join demo. This is a string with pluses in between it. And then we can split it back up again, and we can do demo dot split on pluses. Because demo equals, sorry guys, like I said, this was an unplanned addition. Equals plus. So now that we have it back as a string with pluses, we can now split it on those pluses. Demo equals demo dot split on the pluses. We'll print that back out, and we have a string with no pluses or spaces. So that's another really useful feature of both dot split and dot join. You can add characters or remove characters, split things around. So like if you know you're taking in a bunch of email addresses and you want to split out the domains, you can do a dot split on an ampersand, excuse me, on the @ sign. If you're bringing in a bunch of phone numbers, you can do a dot split on the hyphens. Or conversely, if you're printing a bunch of phone numbers out from your database, you can do a dot join with hyphens to get them back in that formatting. So please check this out. Go in, Google around a little bit, open the interpreter, make some strings, play around, see what you can do, see what kind of errors you get, look up those errors, and play some more. Um, dot split, dot join. They're awesome. Thanks for being here. Take care.